Alive and Well is brought to you by Pine Rest Christian Mental Health Services.
This segment is sponsored by Pine Rest. Fall in Michigan means football, color tours, cider, and donuts. For many Michiganders, the shortening days of fall also signal the beginning of what is commonly called the winter blues. Dr. Greg Malice from Pine Rest joins us today to talk about seasonal affective disorder, how it affects mood, and tips to manage the symptoms this winter. It's good to have you here.
Great to be here.
Hard to believe we're already talking about this, but on it comes. The days are growing shorter.
Yes, shorter by pretty significant margins. I feel like it's dark all the time outside now.
Yeah. What is seasonal affective disorder, also known as SAD?
Yeah, so seasonal affective disorder is a type of depression. You mentioned the winter blues, and it's a more intense version of the winter blues where we're really in kind of a clinical depression. But it really only hits us during particular seasons. Typically, it's kind of late fall, early winter is the onset. There are some people who do have a more rare type of seasonal affective disorder that starts in the late spring or early summer. But typically we associate seasonal affective disorder with kind of the winter months.
And how is it different from just regular old depression?
Well, it's actually very similar to regular old depression, except that it falls within this very specific timeline. So if your depression is lasting kind of over seasons and over years, it's going to be more typical depression. But if it typically happens kind of at late fall, early winter, lasts for those darker, colder months, and then starts to resolve on its own, then we'd be more likely to call that seasonal affective disorder.
And how common is it?
It's pretty common. About 5% of people in the United States will experience seasonal affective disorder. We find that it's more common in women, although they're not exactly sure why that is, and it's more common in younger individuals, and as we can imagine, individuals who live more northerly. So in the northern states like Michigan, we're going to experience that a little bit more than in those southern states.
How does it present? Like, what are the symptoms?
The symptoms are very similar to depression. So you're going to experience a lot of kind of depressed mood, low energy, lack of interest in things that you're normally interested in. What we also see a lot of is increased eating, increased weight gain, increased sleeping, in particular in those winter months. If you have more of the rare subtype where you're getting it in the spring and summer, you're going to see a little bit of the opposite. You're going to see insomnia, you're going to see a lack of interest in eating, and you're going to have kind of more agitation and irritability.
Treatment?
Treatment, the first line is really looking at exercise and self-care. Sun lamps, those kind of little lights that mimic the sun, are really helpful because when our skin is exposed to sunlight, we produce vitamin D, which helps us it helps our bodies to process serotonin a little bit better, which manages our mood. So we'd really do exercise and sun lamps first. Next is going to be kind of talk therapy or maybe some antidepressants to kind of round that out a little bit.
The good news is that this, usually if it's sad and not depression, they will move through and out of this, right? It's just sort of coping.
Yes, it will resolve on its own if it is seasonal affective disorder. That being said, while somebody is experiencing it, when they're in the thick of it, it can be really debilitating. So we do want to let people know if they are experiencing this, there are ways to help manage that more effectively, to kind of ride out the storm until we get to when it starts to resolve on its own.
I know people who suffer with it are grateful that it's a thing, that it's acknowledged as a thing, and not just, well, this, everybody does this. Not everybody does it to the effect that it's sad.
Correct. Yeah, it's really when it starts negatively impacting your functioning, right? It's difficult to go to work. It's difficult to interact socially or with your family. You're really not doing the things that you want to do or that you have typically done. That's when we really do want to start trying to intervene and help this individual kind of get a little bit more energy, get a little bit more engagement back in their life.
All right, well, good advice. You can find more information and tips from Pine Rest experts on managing depression at pinerest.org/depression. We'll put a link to that on our website, 13onyourside.com. Dr. Malice, thanks.
Happy to be here.